In rather surprising news, Hull City have sacked head coach Liam Rosenior despite achieving a 7th place finish in the 23-24 championship season, a 10-place improvement on the 17th place championship finish they obtained last season. But why have they decided to sack Liam Rosenior? I'm going to try and make sense of what seems like a pretty controversial and rather bizarre decision made by Achin Ilachali. Statement came out this afternoon after reports came from TalkSport and from Sky earlier in the morning. And generally, when football clubs release a statement when they just sacked the manager, there's a lot of fluff, there's a lot of cotton wool, a lot of words that don't really necessarily mean anything, a lot of good luck wishes and, announcement in due course or recruitment process have gone underway, similarly to here. But generally, there's one or two sentences in each statement that are absolutely crucial and generally do tell the story as to possibly why this decision has been made. The extra bit is just there to make it professional. And similarly to why Hull sacked Shota Albalatsa last season, is because Liam Rosenior and Achin Ilachali were not aligned in their visions for the football club going forwards. A couple of bits from this statement that I think are the most important on the whole are he needed to ensure that the long-term vision of this football club was at the centre of his thinking. Liam Rosenior has enjoyed an open and honest relationship, yada, yada, yada. Again, a lot of waffle and a lot of statements from football clubs. It has become evident that our visions for the future are not aligned, and I feel that now is the perfect time to make a change. Our philosophy is clear. We will continue to do what the club will do. We will continue to drive this club forward, and whilst doing so, I will continue to be open and transparent with our fans, said owner Achin Ilachali. The phrase, we weren't aligned, or Hull and Liam Rosenior weren't aligned in what they wanted to do going forward, gets a bit vague because it can mean a lot of things from the style of play, results on the pitch, kind of conclusions from the season, whether Liam Rosenior thought Hull were just about right in terms of where they were relative to expectations at the start of the season, and whether Achin Ilachali actually thought that, well, clearly he did, that Hull actually underperformed compared to what they had in the squad and the quality that they've recruited in January and in the summer, which we'll talk about in a little while. So it could mean a lot of things. It's a bit vague, but honestly, it's probably one of the best kind of things we are really going to get from a football statement nowadays. Presumably, Ilachali's made this decision because he thinks Hull have underperformed, and that's a fair assumption to make. And, well, I do agree that the squad is very good at Hull. Just look at the players they brought in the summer, like Jaden Philogene, Tyler Morton on loan. Ryan Allsop came in, he's been their #1 keeper all season. Scott Twine, who's now at Bristol City. Aaron Connolly started the season very well. Ruben Managra was brought in from Sporting Club de Portugal, who are very high esteemed in Portugal. Jason Lakilo was brought in for a transfer fee. Liam Delap was brought in from Manchester City. So there are a lot of players in there who are very high caliber players, and presumably a lot of money was spent on Jaden Philogene's transfer fee, as well as loan fees and wages, etc. So maybe Achin Ilachali was right in the fact that he should have probably expected Liam Rosenior to guide this team into the top 6, especially with the fact that how Liam Rosenior was backed in the January transfer window. There was some seismic movement at Hull in January, and I would say they were probably the best team in the January transfer market to be active, as well as improving their squad a lot. Abdulkader Umar was brought in for a couple of million quid from Trabzonspor, and Savori, Ryan Giles, Fabio Carvalho, all players who have been here, done it in the Championship, have been very successful in their respective roles. Eva Pando was brought in for a couple of million from the Netherlands, so you can't argue that Liam Rosenior was definitely backed when Hull were in an active playoff push, and that ultimately is a bit of a double-edged sword, because when you're backed as a manager, you're expected to get the results, and when Liam Rosenior ultimately hasn't been able to get the results, that's also been ultimately why he's been sacked now. The January signings look like they'd made an immediate impact, and Hull, from that middle of January till the end of February, went on a really impressive run that really boosted their top 6 race push. They won 5 out of their 6 games, and the only game they didn't win was a home defeat to Swansea. And the last game they won was away at Southampton, and that was a game that was a statement of intent. The attacking quality, the likes of Ozan Tufan, Fabio Carvalho, and existing players from last season, like Alfie Jones, like Cyrus Christie, Jacob Greaves in particular, all players embedded, and it finally looked like Liam Rosenior's kind of system was really ticking, and this Hull City side were finally moving in the right direction and making some serious progression. Even though it might not have been firing on all cylinders, especially going forward, where Hull weren't maybe as clinical as they should have been, or weren't creating as many high-cut chances as they probably should have been, or the possession they've been having in kind of games previous leading up to that. it was still a sign of kind of where this Liam Rosenior system is going. And even if they didn't end up in the top 6 this season, surely, if given time, Liam Rosenior would have been able to mount a serious playoff push next season. I think Hull's season was probably determined by that run straight after the Southampton game, where they went 6 without a win and drew 4 of them. Only lost 2, but still, the rate Norwich were going at, the rate Middlesbrough, Coventry, West Brom, it was always going to be difficult for Hull to catch up after that, and it was, yeah, really fatal in the end. Hull eventually finished 7th, Liam Rosenior just missed out on the top 6. Is that an underperformance? Now, there's a lot of context going into this because the team directly above Hull, 6th and 5th in Norwich and West Brom, are in receipt of parachute payments still. Carlos Corberán at West Brom is an excellent manager. West Brom have been fairly consistently in the top 6 all the season. Don't really think they've ever dropped out, really. They've been a threat, but they've not really dropped out. Norwich, well, they've had a brilliant second half of the season where they've come up from the bottom half all the way up to the top 6 and receive parachute payments and have a very good squad. And it was all only a matter of time before they started to click. So, is it an underperformance for Rosenior? No, I don't think so. Purely because I completely respect the fact that Hull have a massively very good squad and has been heavily backed, like Rory, Giles, Carvalho, etc. You know what I'm talking, I've just mentioned them all. However, I do also believe that Rosenior, given time, next season, possibly, would have progressed the style of play from a very methodical and at times quite ponderous and times not getting the best out of some of these players like Shane Philogene, like Rory, like the Lap, like Carvalho, possibly not getting the best out of them. And I think next season, if he'd got a little bit more fine-tuned balance, he possibly would have got the best out of them. And I think Hull would have possibly, I would have guessed, mounted a bit more of a serious promotion push. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I think it'll be very interesting to see what road Acun Ilicali actually goes down now. Whether he's going to go abroad again, like he did with Shota Malazzo, or is he going to go English again and maybe a coach type of role? Or is he going to go experienced and maybe, I don't know, someone like a Chris Wilder type of role? Not him in particular, but someone of that ilk. How is Acun Ilicali going to approach this? Also bearing in mind, this is a very unique situation at Hull where you're probably going to get backed, but it's going to be immense pressure. And someone like Rosenior, who's got the support of the fans, playing some pretty decent stuff, where Hull had a lot of the possession, playing some very methodical stuff, but some pretty slow stuff, and at times can be quite pedestrian and a bit of a turgid watch. But at its best, a really good fluid side and something that a team that's really definitely going to cause opposition problems. It's going to be interesting to see how Ilicali goes down next and what type of manager he actually appoints. And, well, will that manager get the best out of this squad? Watch this space. Right, what a bizarre situation at Hull then. So, do you think it was a fair decision to sack Liam Rosenior? Do you think it was a harsh decision to sack Liam Rosenior? Are you on Acun Ilicali's side? Are you on Liam Rosenior's side? Can you see both points? Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, I find this a little bit harsh, but a side that has been heavily backed, I completely understand from the owner's point of view that he'd want success, but you could also counter that with the fact that maybe he didn't have enough time, and maybe January up until the end of the season, maybe not enough time to bed in players into quite a complicated and integrated system that Liam Rosenior has built at Hull, or no longer built at Hull. Thank you very much for watching this video. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe before you go, and I will see you all later very soon. Cheers.